Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again, and I'm so glad that you have stopped here on this post. This is Sunday, and this is what I call my Sunday message to those of you who take a little bit of time to listen to something that's different, something that is refreshing, and something that is really, truly about life and not about death. Today, my wife was getting ready to go to church, and I was lying across the bed, and I called over. I said, "Come here, honey." I say, "She said, what you want?" I say, "Give me some sugar." She told me that she was a whole bunch of salt and she didn't have any sugar. So I told her to, okay, then go on to church and bring back some sugar. Now, I'm wondering if she's going to bring back any sugar or is she going to bring back some salt. Now, if she brings back some sugar, then maybe I can say, well, maybe church has some true benefit. If she brings back that salt that she left here with, then I'm going to probably think, what was the use of going to the church? That is what so many of us say nowadays anyway. And ladies and gentlemen, understandably so, we are going through some crisis here within the United States of America. No different than the crisis that's going on around the world, except this is here at home. This is where we are, and it exists because of others and ourselves. It exists because of the world economy, the world system. It exists because of our economy and our system. And all of that is a continuation of something that started a long time ago. And a question has always been, how do you fix a thing like that? And you know, it's a question that requires some thinking, something that a lot of us cannot do. But it is incumbent that we do these things, and at least as far as this post is concerned today, I'd like to share with you a few thoughts that's on my mind. I'm thinking about my advocation to you is we have all of the evidence we need about the world. And our big question should be about God. We have spent most of our lifetime talking about what God was and what God will be. Was before we came and will be after we die, and not that much information in regards to God here today in our lives. In fact, it was so unnecessarily considered by many that at a time when at least the facade of it meaning something, they decided to wipe that out by separating it from what they call church and state or something like that. That means you don't get a chance to, and you know how that goes. But we can understand that whatever God means, apparently the United States of America did not want to be associated with it. And I personally see that we have come full circle out of a seed planted like that, disassociated from God, and now we find ourselves at a point in time in our history where we find our government officials having no respect for God, who sit there and take an oath promising you, the people, that they will adhere to the oath based upon what the oath is supposed to signify. And yet, at the same time, tell you they're not going to obey it, and then take the oath and disobey the oath. I mean, we've come to a point in time where it didn't mean anything. Not a thing. And the leader of the nation, well, this isn't new, ladies and gentlemen, but there are things that happen that we can consider as a great equalizer. There have been many movies that have been brought about that depicts the demise of a nation or a world. We've seen it in hurricanes, we've seen it in earthquakes, we've seen it in diseases. And when we think about the coronavirus, we don't even want to think about the worst case scenario. It is something that we will conquer, as we as a people have conquered such in the past. A lot of people want to spend time saying that they perhaps believe that this is nothing that just happened, but that it is man-made in an attempt to get a heads up on somebody else and their ability to have a power over others. Power meaning the ability to manipulate, control, and dictate to others outcomes that you desire. Whether it affects them in a positive or negative way is irrelevant. So you were willing to pay money to get an edge like that. So here again, you find people seeking power. You find people seeking money. These two things going hand in hand about the systems of the world that we should give some thought to, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let that escape us just by trying to focus on the things that they are focusing on after the problem exists. We got to think about why it exists. How are we going to prevent these things from happening again? Or at least make it mean something to us that at least we consider it. Now, there are certain things that we know are not man-made. At least we don't have any idea that it could possibly be man-made, but yet they can call them an equalizer. You know, in a society, in a nation where you got your haves and you got your have-nots, they represent two different things to the society at large. One is putting the other down, and the other is putting the other down. And one trying to reach where the other one is, and the other one is trying to get as far away from it. And as they get away from it, they make the problem even worse. So people think sometimes that you create not just to destroy, but to make money, but population control. All of these things. And when you say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. So don't think about these kinds of things. Look, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump said, the caravans are coming, the caravans are coming, the caravans are coming. The next thing you know, there's a citizen out there that's been moved by Donald Trump saying, and going out there killing people, saying that the caravans are coming, the caravans are coming. So don't say what people won't be moved or manipulated to do. People will do anything that you can think that they will do. If you can think that they will do it, somebody, somewhere, is working on it right now. Why? Because of the system in which we live under. It benefits them. It benefits them. But now, these equalizers, they don't care if you're white or black, whether you are rich or poor, whether you're living on Peel Hill or beside the railroad track. A flood doesn't matter, doesn't care. It comes through and it will devastate you both. And if there's any dry land to stand on, you're both standing there, naked, helpless, wonder when the water's going to rescind and what you can do about it afterwards. If the earthquake comes, what can you do about that? Hoping that it doesn't have an effect on your life, knowing that it's going to have an effect on somebody, but let it be them and not me. Is that our cry? And if it is, we can understand that. But then at the same time, what did we do to prepare that when this happened, and whomever it happened to, they would overcome, because they got the power of the nation. They got the power of we the people behind us. And we will not allow them to stand not alone, because we are one together. Then there are other things. If it's not a disease, it just could be a war. It could be a war. And that's devastating. If it gets you, if it gets your city, if it gets your town, if it gets your nation, where do you go from there? You got to start over. Everybody. What was is no more. It is what it is. But will it stay that? Or can you dream again? Ladies and gentlemen, there are all kinds of things that we are being confronted with every day. And right now we got a political season going on, where it's going to be between a Republican and a Democrat, it seems. Now, we as American people believe that we have played a major role a real major role in what's going on, or what's going to be going on, or what we hope will be going on. Divided ourselves up as Republicans and Democrats. Each one of the same thing, but believing of going different ways. And the evidence supports that when you were in power, none of you got to satisfy the people. You did your terms and you graded yourselves as being successful, but the nation has always fell short. And yet, today we have put before us, or being put before us, just as we had done in 2016. We are having individuals that have been selected. I didn't use this expression before, but since then I've heard some others use it, and it sounds to make good sense. Is that we have some individuals that have been selected by the powers that be. And some of you say, oh, that's a conspiracy. Conspiracy in my foot. The powers that be run this nation as it runs all nations on earth. Have selected, and we will have put before us of this an opportunity to say we will elect someone that represents our view. And why do we say that? Because we've heard them ramrod themselves across the country, saying this and saying that, drawing focus to those things that they know are most essentially important to us. And so the question on our mind is, who do we trust? And now it's really important today. It's not just who do we trust. We're also saying who can beat the devil. Yes, that's what the Democrats are saying. Who can beat the devil? And I'm sure that the Republicans are saying something just as equally, but I don't know what it is. I do hear Democrats talking. I don't hear Republicans talking too much. Because the last time I heard a Republican talking, it was this guy on InfoWars, Jones. I can't think of his first name. Anyway, I mean, that brother, he had to be careful who you listen to, ladies and gentlemen, because you will be believing a whole bunch of stuff. Now, I'll ask you, when you think about these choices that the people want you to pretend like you playing a role in, Donald Trump, you know what Donald Trump is. You know he's a liar. Now, all of us lie every now and then. So when you say he's a liar, don't put too much emphasis on it, because you're a liar too. But he's a public figure that's put before you to say that you can trust him, that he will abide by truth, especially when it comes down to the nation and you. He took an oath, didn't mean a thing. He's a liar. When he speaks, you just want to cut the volume down because you don't want to hear it, because you knowing it's probably a lie. And so you don't even want to think that there's any truth to it, only to find out that it's a lie. You know how you feel about different people. He didn't bite his tongue about it. People of color can't stand. He don't mind if you are dead. And he will incite a riot to get you dead if he possibly can. Now that's Donald Trump. I don't care who loves him. I don't care who believes that God sent him. I'm not going to argue about that. I know one thing, that what I just got through telling you is Donald Trump. Now, for those of you who can't stand that, and you look at Biden. Now, what do you see in Biden? Do you see somebody that can beat Donald Trump? Why do you say he can beat Donald Trump? Because he's perhaps not as mean as Donald Trump, or is he meaner than Donald Trump? Well, the truth of the matter is, most of the folks who are supporting Biden hope he's not meaner than Trump. They hope he's a little less meaner than Trump, and that it is more people out here left in America that votes that would rather go for someone a little bit less meaner than Trump than someone that's meaner than Trump. So that's what the Democrats are really offering and hoping for. Now, you the people, you got to consider both of these guys. And I ask all people of color, I can understand why white people are afraid. Yes, there are more other people who have been victimized by powers everywhere that are piled up in this country because this country pretended as if it was more godly than those other nations. So yes, they've come here looking for the expression of God, not to hoping to find God dead because the white people were saying that they were being outnumbered. So now they're going to have to act like there is no God until they whoop everybody else back in place and then allow God to live again. Well, I ask you, the black people, what's the difference do you see in Donald Trump and Joe Biden? As I mentioned, I just described what Donald Trump is. What do you see in Biden? Oh yes, I know they are just two white men, just like it always is when it comes down to power. Two white men. And if it's going to be a black man, you better bet your last money they convinced that he got the white idea in his head. But you got two white men right here, right? Now I just told you what Trump would do. What do you think that Biden would do? Do you think that Biden would be the white man that would sign on the dotted line that's saying blacks in slavery is okay? Do you think that he would do that? Or do you think he wouldn't? Do you think he'd say, no, I'm not with slavery? Or do you think he'd go along with it? Now, there are many of you who say that he wouldn't go along with it. I ask you, why would you say that? Seriously, why would you say he wouldn't go along with it? He went along with the lie about dangerous weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. He bought into that lie and signed on and went along with it, even though it wasn't true. So what made you think he would not have bought on to that lie about black people? Well, you might be right. He might not have, but it is a question. The question I ask, because it doesn't have to be that way. What I bring this message to you about, ladies and gentlemen, is to say basically, it is time that we the people disregard the current system that we live under because it has outlived its usefulness. We need a much better system. And I'm not talking about that junk that Donald Trump talk about, make America great. I'm talking about a system that works for everybody in this nation. A system that involves everybody in this nation. A system that everyone in this nation can be proud of. And it's not going to come from Joe Biden or Donald Trump. It's not going to come from any Republican or any Democrat. It's going to come from a way of life that is depicted in the understanding of a power that is above you and I. A power that is responsible for the creation of all things that exist and has a pattern for all things to operate in. Chaos is the consequence of acting a certain kind of way. And every last one of you, there are things that are coming amongst us that requires that we act a certain kind of way. And it's different than acting according to that which produces chaos. Every last one of us, whether we are in this country or anywhere on this earth, as a human being, every last one of us want, require, and need our needs, our wants, and our desires met. Every human being on earth, my needs met, my wants met, my desires met. What more could I ask for? Because that includes peace. And who would pass up peace? Well, there are those who say they want peace while they're preparing for war. But when they really want peace, they will not prepare for war because they don't want anything to persuade them, to give them any idea that they can be victorious over another, because they don't want it. And they are not going to be subservient to any other except the power of the Almighty that they can't see, can't touch, can't feel, but the Spirit that we call God. And it's going to be real because it's living in them, you now, and me. Not only do they want peace, they want prosperity, all of you. You want freedom, nothing like freedom. and you want joy in your life. Not only that, you want your dreams to be fulfilled. You want them to be met and not be dreams any longer, but your reality. That's common amongst every last one of us. But it didn't stop there. There are other essentials that are common amongst us. Things that are essential for survival, like food, clothing, and shelter, education, and health care. Every last human being on the face of the earth will check every last one of those blocks I just mentioned. Check, 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 check. It's not an individual on the face of the earth anywhere that would uncheck that. But in order to have that, there's a special kind of way you have to operate in your life. You have to get rid of that stuff that requires and also produces lies, poverty, crime and violence, cheating and stealing, bigotry, hatred, racism. No. That comes from the ways that we've all conformed to. My challenge, ladies and gentlemen, is to catch that aside, to live no more. When you ask this wonderful thing that I just mentioned to you, how can that happen? Because you have not heard of that happening. You have not even desired really to give it too much thought, because it seemed to be so impossible. And if anybody comes to you saying it, you got to be lying. Why? Because it sounds too good to be true. I ask you, is God too good to be true? All of existence, is it too good to be true? Well, we see it, but can we make it better? Especially if we recognize that it is not better, because the power to make it better is in our hands. And what can we do to achieve those wonderful things that I just mentioned? I ask you, turn to God's plan. And what is God's plan? God's plan is that every human being on earth, including every individual in the United States of America, that would benefit from any of these things that I've just mentioned. If there's anyone that would not benefit from it, step aside. But everyone that would benefit from it, you know what? You have been given a gift. Every last one of you. You know what it is. Many of you do. Many of you are still trying to figure it out. That is a gift for being here on this earth. Something that you can participate in life. Something that you can engage yourself in a career. Some of you call that a job. But it's not just any job. It's the careers that you love doing. You've heard people say, I love this job so much, and I'm getting paid on top of it. Can you believe it? Well, this is what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the Master has engaged in each of us. And it is the systems of the world that has denied us our opportunity. But the new system allows it to be real. And as you engage your gifts in the process of creating what we've already created, we'll continue to do that. Upgrade stuff, make stuff better. More people working, don't have to work so hard. More freedom to do other things. All of this because of the new system that says you don't need any money, debt, fees, fines, loans, taxes, none of that. And you got carte blanche to everything that you ever use money for. Now you don't need money, but you got access to it. Unlimited, as you desire. Why? Because now you are part owner. Every human being in America, every human being on earth, when it reaches out that far, become part owners, part ownership in everything that exists at the hands of man. All of your hands came together and produced everything that exists. And because those hands came together and did it, it belongs to wherever those hands come from. Ain't that slick? That is so slick. Boy, that is beautiful. And no man can call himself any more important than another. You just got what you love doing, and you thank God that you got it. And you're really grateful that you got an opportunity to be about it. And everything you do is fantastic. Everything you do is needed. Nothing is put down. Come on, mothers and brothers and sisters. A brand new life, a brand new system. Now, you can't get that from any government on the face of the earth. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, even Sanders. None of you can produce this stuff. Only you, the American people, have to agree that that's what you want. And once you agree that that's what you want, then you resist anything that would deny any of that from happening. And your system will stand up on its own 2 feet, or however many it needs to stand up on. And it'll be, thy will be done, as in heaven, so on earth. What do you think that meant? That's what it means, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you've heard the truth, the message about how to do it and what it means. And you're going to vote. You're going to let these people select and now trick you, thinking you elected. You think they're going to give you this? Now, that becomes because of you and that spirit living in you that resists everything else. Think about that. I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time. I talked 27 minutes. Well, it was all good. But now I'm going to say to you, goodbye.